All right, we're back. We're back. So this is let's call this part two, right? So let's just get right back into it to where we were. Because even before I started this live, it said I had one person in here, and I don't even know how that's possible. I didn't even start going live yet until just now. No cap. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but we're not gonna let that stop us though, right? When you hear this man speaking of carpe diem, carpe momentum, okay, means he plucked your momentum. He took your momentum away. All right. He seized the day by taking your momentum away. Okay. That's what he's really saying. Right. It's double speech. Okay. So when you look up the etymology of these words that he's speaking of, these Latin words, it's literally he's saying that he plucked the day away from you. He took carpe diem. Diem means dies. In its oldest form, it means death, die. Okay, so movement. He plucked the day. He took that momentum. All right, that's what that is. Now, I named this. Are they trolling me? Because all of that I touched on it yesterday. Now listen, listen to him. Listen to him. This is his live. He just did this live say 2 hours ago. Now listen, right? I'm gonna back up to the beginning. We're gonna start back from the beginning. Okay. Now, let me also say this. When they talk about the federal cut this to the state to these programs from your communities, those were supposed to be state funded programs. The state was supposed to have funded those programs with the tax money that they take from you, from out of your taxes, state taxes. You pay state taxes, right? So all this presidency did was put everything back in its proper perspective to how it's supposed to be ran. And your job was to have been new the political system which you play a role in, right? The system in which you were a citizen of. That was your job to know the ins and out. You don't know it, so you're just listening to other folks, and you're like, "Oh yeah, he came here and he was screwing us over." Oh yeah, Trump is not screwing you over. You're screwing over yourself because of lack of education on this political system. You go vote, but do you know this system? Do you know how to maneuver in this corporate system? When you get up every day, when you get up every election and you're voting for this person, do you actually get what this person is talking about, what they're saying to you? Do you know the concept of double speech? Do you know the concept of, do you know what they're saying when they're really breaking down certain forms of Latin? Do you know what they're saying when they're breaking down certain forms of the system? Have you went yourself and researched these things? Have you went yourself and tested certain things out to see if they're telling the truth? You have not. So you fall for stuff. I seen them put up a thing talk where they had like MSNBC had Birdman up there. Birdman can't tell me nothing about politics. A man that calls another man his son and then is on stage kissing him full blown on the lips can't tell me shit about politics. Okay? Cannot tell me nothing about the system. Nothing. A man that went to over there in Europe and got raised to one of the highest degrees of masonry can't but tell me nothing because he's a part of their agenda. All right. Now you have George Floyd's brother, what uncles and brother talk about Trump wouldn't even let me talk. Man, shut your ass up. Why are you paying why are you interfering with the political affairs of what's happening now? Right? What is that man supposed to let you talk about? You had your movement, you had your moment, you said your speeches, you made your millions of dollars. You good. There's nothing you could say to Trump that how many other presidents have not heard, that no one knows is going on. It's not Trump that killed George Floyd. It wasn't the federal government that killed George Floyd. It was a state and city worker. So you shouldn't even be at the goddamn White House. You should have been at your governor's mansion. The governor is supposed to go discipline their state and city workers, not Trump. Trump is federal. Federal is only supposed to get involved when you, the majority of the people, ask them to. Or more so, tell them to. Okay? And again, that's why I say, yo, y'all getting in your own way, tripping over your own shoes lace, right? Because of your lack of education and knowing. And look, man, that Boule family can't tell me nothing neither. All right? Because supposedly George Floyd is dead. Okay? Supposedly. There's a lot of stuff that has come out. Look, man, if y'all don't understand the Masonic world, I'm telling y'all that the Masonic world, these lodges, in some incidences, some cases, sacrifice. They believe in sacrifices, blood sacrifice. And even if they're not doing blood sacrifice, they like to make it look like that's what happened so that they can push along the main agenda, which is what's being pushed along now. But you guys don't get it. Out of chaos comes rulership. All right. So out of the chaos that you're creating, they could clamp down more on the judicial structure around you. So you're not winning anything. You're losing a hell of a lot. You're losing more freedom. All right. Now we spoke about him in this Carpe Momentum. We spoke about how Bellagio was gutting the FOIA Act, right? Cuomo is not giving you nothing that wasn't already there to protect you from these policy officers and their abuse, and to protect you from Cuomo and his abuse, and to protect you from Bellagio and on his abuse of power. When they're talking about they're going to go and write back legislature for the state and re-bring out back this bill, bullshit. You don't want that. What you need, the most powerful thing that you need is already there. They're just trying to give you more state documentations so that they could gut the federal ones that's there to protect you from the state. Wake up. Him talk about we're going to write this bill and we're going to put it. That's not a law. That's not a law. The only law is universal law. I self law and master. Okay? That's you governing oneself. All right? Then you have the constitutional law and the common law. These are the only laws. There's nothing else outside of that. All right? Nothing else. So wake up. Wake up. All right? Now, look, if y'all been following me for the past couple lives, y'all heard the topics that I brought up, the information that I gave to you guys. Does this not sound like this man is contesting all of it? Now let me get the let me get my phone and play it back from my phone. Right now, forgive me guys, I can't screen. I used up all my screen sharing hours with StreamYard. All right, so I am gonna I am gonna try to use my a family member's laptop to run the OBS because every time I try to run the OBS on here, they mess with the audio. All right, the audio go, but when I do a practice run on like my cousin stuff, it's clear. So they're tampering with the OBS on here because, like I said, I already know why. I know why, but yeah. So I'm gonna have to just try to get the money to pay for the StreamYard because I got an important live stream coming up on Monday. I got another live stream coming up with American Arawaks, Kappa Hot Step, Lakona Empire, and the Yen Kun Kun, the Arawaks of Examaica, also with an update on what it is that they've been up to. They have a lot of good herbal remedies also for you also as well. And they do have, I believe they have a website also of all the herbal stuff that they've been working on and how to holistically keep your health and treat yourself. And so yeah, so they will be on Monday. It will be Monday at 4 p.m. All right, same time like the last time when we did the Great Council of the Arawak Great Council. All right. So it'll be still the Arawak Great Council. And yeah, so our brothers and sisters that's going to be on the panel, they're going to be dropping information for the whole Americas. Okay. So that's what's coming up on Monday. All right. So then I'll definitely have the screen share up and running by then. All right. Even if I have to pay StreamYard for it. The thing is I didn't want to pay StreamYard for it, and then if anything, they and I can't pay a month's service, say 1 month, they cut the whole thing, and the free program that I had, I lose it, right? But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But the information just got to get out there. Okay. But anyway, here we go. Tell me if this man wasn't trying to counteract everything that I broke down. And he ain't shown no proof to nothing that he was talking about. Nothing. Let me bring it back, right? On his screen.
Going to go. Nobody knew. Nobody knew if you could control the spread of the virus. Nobody knew how fast you could control the spread of the virus. And they all said the same thing. Well, it's going to depend on what people do. It's going to depend on what people do. It's going to depend on whether or not people take it seriously. People accept the warnings. People understand the virus. They understand how serious it is. And I am just so proud of how New Yorkers have responded. Look, I can say this. I'm a born and bred New Yorker all my life. We can be a tough crew. And New Yorkers heard the message. New Yorkers did what they had to do. They did it with discipline. And if you had told me 100 days ago.
Told you that's double speech. When he said they did it with discipline, that's because they ordered the police to beat. Yeah. So they keep cutting the feed. They keep cutting the feed. Like I said, they keep cutting the feed. All right. And that's because anytime the chat starts too fast or too many people, they cut the feed and they kick you out of the chat. And anytime I touch on a certain topic, they cut the feed, kick out a lot of people out the chat, and then they kick it back in. All right. So this show you that they're trolling me. Now, like I was saying, human right. Every time an officer arrested you for not wearing a mask, that's a lawsuit on human rights violation. Not only is it is a lawsuit against the department, it's a lawsuit on that officer in his proper persons, in his natural persons. So you're suing that officer himself, separate from the department, because now that officer is going to have to pay attention, going to have to prove that wearing that mask was for your own protection and your own good, and then he has to prove that you were incompetent, so he had to make you wear the mask. Okay, that means he has to turn himself into a goddamn scientist to prove that that mask don't cause no damage to you. You have cases. Every New Yorker that's wearing that mask has a case on the state overall. Winnable cases. Pay attention. All right? Pay attention to what they're doing. Okay? Winnable cases. They stopped the chat again on the stream. Just because I can't screen share to show you guys. But I can still see chat on the on my phone. But I think it counts if it's on the if it's still going on the screen. All right. But it is what it is. So yeah. So each officer, human rights violation. That's one human rights lawsuit on each individual officer. Okay. Now, you could also press assault charges, not only on that, and because when you're wearing that mask, it's shutting down your system slowly but surely, where it could possibly kill you. That's attempted murder. All right. Or conspiracy to commit murder. It's many things right there on them, on him. Tell y'all, man, you have to understand what's going on here. The big cover up that they have to keep pushing the stuff because they messed up so bad. and because they know that you're uneducated when it comes to law, proper law. And that's just simply the Constitution. That's it. You read that Constitution and you go back for you read that Constitution and you go back to everything that these folks have been doing, you see how deep the depths of the criminal activities that the state has been doing, the state and the city has been doing on you. You'll see it. Then now there'll be questions. They don't want to answer questions, so they're trying to shut you down to keep the military in these things in certain areas. Now, because they couldn't keep the military in so and so areas, they still trying to push these mandates. They still trying to push talk about, oh, we're going to write this bill. We're going to write this bill for the state on the state level and so on and so. But it's really to take away more of your free speech, your rights. That's what it's really. That's what it really is. Okay. He will always direct you away from the federal government. Now listen, listen. Let's play his stuff. Let's play his stuff. We're gonna play it right now.
That we would be reopening when we didn't even know how bad it was going to get. I mean, we had some dire predictions. Remember what those early projection models said, that it would overwhelm our hospital system by doubling the capacity in the hospital system. We had we have 50,000 hospital beds in the state of New York. They were projecting we would need over 100,000 hospital beds. It was frightening, but New Yorkers did it. New Yorkers did it. It's that simple. We said thank you yesterday. We lit up all the city and state landmarks with colors of the state to say thank you, because we're not out of the woods, but we are on the other side, certainly. And that's why we're starting the reopening in New York City. As you know, we've started it all across the other regions of the state. But I want to thank the people for what they did. New Yorkers always rise to the occasion. Always. They rose to the occasion after 9/11. In many ways, New Yorkers, I think, represent courage and unity. And when things are tough, New Yorkers are tougher. And that's what they did here. And I'm so proud to be governor of New York. And I'm so proud to be a New Yorker. And I want to say thank you to the people of the state. I also want to thank all the essential workers, the police officers, the firefighters, the healthcare workers, the nurses, the doctors, everyone who stepped up. You know, if those essential workers hadn't showed up, you would have had total anarchy in society. If those essential workers said, well, if it's so dangerous, I'm going to stay home too. I'm not going to open the grocery store. I'm not going to open the pharmacy. I'm not going to drive the truck to bring the groceries to the grocery store. I'm not going to drive the train. I'm going to stay home like everyone else. If they had done that and there was no food and there was no transportation, you would have seen bedlam. So God bless the essential workers. I'd also like to thank my team. 100 days. They haven't had a day off. We've done these briefings every day for 100 days, sometimes twice a day. And it's been hard. It's been emotionally hard. It's been exhausting, dealing with the unknown. We've never gone through a period like this. We've gone through a lot. I've gone through a lot, but never anything like this. And they did an extraordinary job, and I want to thank them. And I want to thank you guys for talking to me every day for 100 days. The joy of our interaction and our dialogue, the joy that you had dealing with me, the joy that I have dealing with you. I think you have more joy, but we can discuss that over a beer sometime. But congratulations. We are back. We are back. And not only are we back, but we went from the worst situation in the nation, frankly, one of the worst situations on the globe, to not only flattening the curve, but to bending the curve. Remember, we talked about we had to flatten the curve? That means we have to stop the increase. We didn't. We didn't just stop the increase. We bent the curve and we brought the spread down dramatically. And you look at where we are today, 100 days later, we are continuing our decline. The rest of the country is still spiking. How remarkable is that?
It's not true.
How remarkable is that? So, congratulations to New Yorkers. It's also day 15 of the civil unrest after the murder of Mr. Floyd. And now we're dealing with the two situations simultaneously. And in many ways, they both then compound each other, right? It's not just the protests, it's protests happening during the COVID situation. So we have to deal with both. The protests continued yesterday all across the state. They were by and large peaceful. But the protesters are basically right. It's not just a New York State phenomenon or an American phenomenon. It's happening all across the globe. I mean, it is amazing. I was watching this morning protests in Rome, protests in Spain, and all
He's
across the
laughing
globe.
at y'all.
And people are saying enough is enough, and it is enough. It is enough. It's been the same point over and over and over again. Bring reforms to the criminal justice system. Bring reforms to policing. We've seen the same situation happen 20, 30, 40 to see the same situation before you act. And we're going to act in the state of New York.
If you want criminal justice reform, you want prison reform, you just you make them go by the law. The Constitution is the law. Okay? You make them go by well, and we're speaking of when it comes to this corporation, all right? When it comes to the living breathing man, that's universal law, that's common law. This corporation, the Constitution is the law. And in the Constitution, it says you have the right to travel from point A to point B. When you find the oldest form of the Constitution, because what they started doing, they started redacting some parts of it out of it. It doesn't mean that it's not there. It means that they're trying to hide it from you. Where it says you have the right to travel from point A to point B, and they took out the part where it says horse carriage or buggy, okay, or your car, okay. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you bought a car today, especially even at an auction, right? And you got it inspected to make sure that it's safe to maneuver, to move, okay? Or you fixed it so you know it's safe. And you jump in that car to go somewhere from point A to point B to travel, not drive, but it's called travel. And they stop you and say your license and registration. First of all, the officer that stopped you is in violation of the law right there because he's only supposed to approach you unless there's a violent incident that took place or someone was robbed or property was damaged. If he opens his mouth and didn't mention none of the sort when he pulls you over and asks you for license and registration because he wanted to know if this was your car, right? Then he's breaking the law right there. Constitution is the law. That is it. The federal constitution. So when you hear these state officials going against the federal because they're trying to get rid of the federal, okay? And the person that's putting boot to ass to them right now is Donald Trump. That's why they don't like him, okay? Because everything he talks about the Constitution. He's telling y'all constitutionally, well, constitutional wise, Constitution. So there's no more reforms to be wrote. They don't have to write out no more reforms. Because every time they claim they're doing a prison reform, they make it worse. All right? When they're locking up your sons and daughters for weed against the Constitution. First of all, when you start understanding more about you being the original indigenous people of the land, them locking you up for weed for something that your ancestors had before they even came here is outright right against universal law, against common law, against your natural law. All right? It hasn't killed your ancestors. It didn't give them brain damages. It's not going to start with you now, unless these folks are poisoning it. Okay? They lock you up because it's one of the biggest money makers. So they wanted to create an industry that they rule and they controlled while they keep your young ones in prison. All right? Violated the Constitution. This is how deep this stuff runs. Okay? Hmm. Let's see. Governor comes and says we're shutting down all businesses. You can't open. And if we're going to open, you're going to only open when I tell you to open, how I tell you to open, violating the Constitution. You have all right to be secure in your persons and your papers. Your persons is not only a physical body and your household, but your business as well. He took an oath to the Constitution to uphold it. Let's keep going.
Transparency of disciplinary record for police officers, what they call repeal of 50A.
Now listen. Yesterday, bring it back a little. Yesterday we touched on Bill Balasio's trying to gut the act for FOIA, right? So that you can't pull up certain information on the police anymore. Because Blasio said that out of his own mouth, and we played that audio. He's going to try to cover it up like that's not what's going on. That's exactly what's going on. FOIA is already put in place. You don't need a state to write nothing more. FOIA is already put in place.
Days, sometimes twice a day. And it's been hard. It's been emotionally hard. It's been exhausting. Dealing with the unknown. We've never gone through a period like this. We've gone through a lot. I've gone through a lot, but never anything like this. And they did an extraordinary job, and I want to thank them, and I want to thank you guys for talking to me every day for 100 days. The joy of our interaction and our dialogue, the joy that you had dealing with me, the joy that I have dealing with you. I think you have more joy, but we can discuss that over a beer sometime. But congratulations, we are back. We are back. And not only are we back, but we went from the worst situation in the nation, frankly, one of the worst situations on the globe, to not only flattening the curve, but to bending the curve. Remember, we talked about we had to flatten the curve. That means we had to stop the increase. We didn't. We didn't just stop the increase. We bent the curve, and we brought the spread down dramatically. And you look at where we are today, 100 days later. We are continuing our decline. The rest of the country is.
Now, keep in mind, Dr. Rashid Battar, Dr. Judah Mikovich, and many other doctors told you when it starts warming up. Even I told you this because this is common sense. I learned this shit in high school. When it starts warming up, viruses die in the heat. This is why so oh, it's on a decline, on this decline. It's June. It's summer. It's summertime. It's no longer cold anymore. Okay? Summertime. He's been faking this the whole time, been making it up. I put the link to FOIA in the chat for those who don't know. I don't know if you guys can see it because they stopped the chat on my computer screen. So the chat is not scrolling, but when I look on my phone, I can see the chat scrolling. All right. Like I said, they stop it on the screen because when the video plays back and uploads, it won't show anyone being in the chat. It would show like the chat was empty. Okay. So it got empty at a certain point, and it'll only show me posting the links in the chat. All right. But it's cool as long as you guys can see it. If you guys saw the link in the chat that I just posted, just press one for me and just let me know that you've received it, and I'll be cool with that. All right. No one received it. Okay. All right. Cool.
Still spiking. How remote in the nation. Frankly, one of the.
Let's go back.
That's why we're starting the reopening in New York City. As you know, we've started
There
it
we go.
all across the other regions of the state. But I want to thank the people for what they did. New Yorkers always rise to the occasion.
Yes,
Always.
no
They rose to
sound.
the occasion after 9/11.
Can't see any pictures.
In many ways,
If
New
you
Yorkers, I think,
if you can't hear the sound, then how you hear me say the press one, Secret Mark Creator? You got sound. There's the screen is blank because I can't screen share. That's why the screen is blank. All right, I can't screen share. No, if I restart it, it's going to cut the stream. It's going to cut the stream if I restart it. So I can't restart it neither. So I just got to let it play out.
present courage and unity. And when things are tough,
Oh, okay.
New Yorkers are tougher. And that's what they did here. And I'm so proud to be governor of New York. And I'm so proud to be a New Yorker. And I want to say thank you to the people of the state. I also want to thank all the essential workers, the police officers, the firefighters, the healthcare workers, the nurses, the doctors, everyone who stepped up. If those essential workers hadn't showed up, you would have had
Now let me make this clear. See, American Arawaks is dropping some of the links also in there, and he said one of the links is to audit them. You don't need the state to write no more policies. It's already there. When you're auditing them, that means they have to give you all the records. If you audit the governor's mansion, they have to give you all the records of the governor's mansion, everything that this man has done in office from he has gotten there. They have to give it to you. They'll try to stall, they'll try to delay, but at the end of the day, they must give it to you. So you don't need them writing no more policies. That's stall tactic. You don't need shit more. Everything's already there for you. So when they tell, oh, we had to write this bill today, and this bill, and this so and so and so, and more to put on the record, and so you don't need none of that. It's already there. It's there already. It's there. From that federal level, it's there to keep the states in check. Okay? It's already there.
total anarchy in society. If those essential workers said, well, if it's so dangerous, I'm going to stay home too. I'm not going to open the grocery store. I'm not going to open the pharmacy. I'm not going to drive the truck to bring the groceries to the grocery store. I'm not going to drive the train. I'm going to stay home like everyone else. If they had done that and there was no food and there was no transportation, you would have seen bedlam. So God bless the essential workers. I'd also like to thank my team. 100 days. They haven't had a day off. We've done these briefings every day for 100 days, sometimes twice a day. And it's been hard. It's been emotionally hard. It's been exhausting. Dealing with the unknown. We've never gone through a period like this. We've gone through a lot. I've gone through a lot, but never anything like this. And they did an extraordinary job, and I want to thank them, and I want to thank you guys for talking to me every day for 100 days. The joy of our interaction and our dialogue, the joy that you had dealing with me, the joy that I have dealing with you. I think you have more joy, but we can discuss that over a beer sometime. But congratulations. We are back. We are back. And not only are we back, but we went from the worst situation in the nation,
Which he created.
frankly, one of the worst situations on the globe,
That's bullshit.
to not only flattening the curve, but to bending the curve. Remember, we talked about we had to flatten the curve? That means we had to stop the increase. We didn't just stop the increase. We bent the curve and we brought the spread down dramatically. And you look at where we are today, 100 days later, we are continuing our decline. The rest of the country is still spiking. How remarkable is that? How remarkable is that? So, congratulations to New Yorkers. It's also day 15 of the civil unrest after the murder of Mr. Floyd. And now we're dealing with the two situations simultaneously. And in many ways, they both then compound each other, right? It's not just the protests, it's protests happening during the COVID situation. So we have to deal with both. The protests continued yesterday all across the state. They were by and large peaceful. But the protesters are basically right. It's not just a New York State phenomenon or American phenomenon. It's happening all across the globe. I mean, it is amazing. I was watching this morning protests in Rome, protests in Spain. It's all across the globe. Uh, and people are saying enough is enough. And it is enough. It is enough because it's been the same point over and over and over again. Bring reforms to the criminal justice system. Bring reforms to policing. We've seen the same situation happen 20, 30, 40 times. How many times do you have to see the same situation before you act? And we're going to act in the state of New York. Transparency of disciplinary records for police officers, what they call repeal of 50A, which, by the way, what 50A says is the records of
So he said that so with a call with the repeal of 58. Now, Blasio is reading 58 to y'all. And pretty much he's talking about in the portions of that act that he was talking about for the state was to redact or repeal the parts, right? Take out the parts that gives you access to certain information of these policy officers. Now, a policy officer is a public servant. So it's not only going to go for policy officers, it's going to go for the mayors, the governors, the councilmen, anyone that operates as a public servant. So they're trying to gut FOIA, which is the Freedom of Information Act. All right, that was given to you by the federal government. That's what they're trying to gut. Okay, don't let these folks trick you. All right, so that's what he's really talking about.
police officers will no
Let's back it
longer
up.
be exempt. Bring reforms to the criminal justice system. Bring reforms to policing. We've seen the same situation happen 20, 30, 40 times. How many times do you have to see the same situation before you act? And we're going to act in the state of New York. Transparency of disciplinary records for police officers, what they call repeal of 50A, which, by the way, what 50A says is the records of police officers will no longer be exempt from disclosure. So the records of police officers will be like every other public employee, right? They'll be like teachers, they'll be like CSEA employees or DC 37 employees.
Now, all right. Say he's saying that what Blasio was saying wasn't true, right? When Blasio is saying that they're going to stop it so that you can't access certain public officers' information, right? Public officials. And he's saying that 50A gives you access to all that information, right? That's what he's saying. Now, if there's already the Freedom of Information Act for you, passed down by the federal government to give you access to all these information, right? That means someone in New York was blocking people from getting those access to the police officers' information, which is why them cops are still running rampant. Because the average citizen can't get it, it wasn't getting it, wasn't getting those information. Because the average citizen don't know about FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. So that means someone on the state and the city level was blocking your access from getting to those stuff when it was already passed already through FOIA. So what he's talking about still is irrelevant because FOIA is already there for you. The Freedom of Information Act is already there for you. There's nothing more powerful than that, other than a writ of mandamus. Okay?
In New York City, their records will be available. And if people made complaints about them, they will be in the record and they will be released.
Now pay attention. See, Blasio was being exact. Blasio was saying that you can't get. Look, when he's saying their records will be available, that's the complaint records he's talking about. Which officers had complaints on them? Your record of that, the fact that you filed a complaint on the officer, that will be available. He's not specific on which records, because usually when you're exercising FOIA, you could pull up the officer's indemnity bond, which is their insurance, so that you can put a lien on their insurance. Okay, because every officer is insured because they're also a business, they're a business entity. So they all have insurance in case they damage other property, which will be you, but the all caps on the governmental documentation, meaning a fictional entity or a business. Okay. So if they shoot you up and you die, that's the business. They're not looking at you as living. So the officer already has an indemnity bond and insurance if he does that. If he walks up to you and punch you in the face and beat the shit out of you, he has that indemnity bond. Right? So he's insured. So the bond will cover the liability. Okay? So when they're talking about gutting this, that act that they're talking about, they're talking about not to give you access to the bond. All public officials' address is supposed to be public. Where they live, all of these things are supposed to be public because they're public servants. They're supposed to be accessible at all times. So all that's supposed to be on the public record. So if they gut that, they're going to gut anything else after dealing with themselves. All right.
Ban chokeholds. We went through it with Eric Garner. I mean, how many times? But passed a law that says that the Attorney General, Special Prosecutor, 5 years ago, I did an executive order that said the Attorney General should investigate cases where police kill an unarmed person. Why? Because a local district attorney, and I have tremendous respect for the district attorneys. I was an assistant district attorney in Manhattan, but a district attorney works with that police force day in and day out. How do you expect the public to think that the local district attorney, as an arbiter, is going to be unbiased? Attorney General, statewide elected official, who can do the investigation of police misconduct. And
There's biasness there. Look, first of all, when he tell you that he was a district attorney, there's biases. There was a biasness with him because he went through the the board the God damn it, what is it called, the lawyers board, the God damn it, I forgot it just slipped my head. But anyway, the judge, the district attorney, okay, the prosecutor are all a part of the same board. Okay, they're all a part of the same board. I'm trying to remember the name. The bar. Thank you, Q. The bar association. They all are part of the same bar association. So there's a conflict of interest right there. So he wasn't even supposed to be taking on any cases, nor was the prosecutor taking on any cases, nor the person acting as judge, because the person that was in those cases acting as judge was not a judge, but a lawyer pretending to be a judge. You don't believe me? Go look through any case that he's ever done as a district attorney and go pull the oath of that judge at the time. If there is no written out signature where you can read it on the line, also the state seal or the city seal of the jurisdiction of which they are operating in, okay, and the constitutional oath in which they took an oath to which they took, right? And if there's no brackets, there's not supposed to be any form of brackets in that neither. Now, if the name is not written on the line out in full, where you can read the full name, if it's a scribble scrabble, if it's off the line, under the line, then it's not valid. They didn't take no oath. All right, so they can come violate you anytime they want. They can set your case up, sabotage your case, whatever it is that they want. Okay. Now, if that judge don't meet those requirements for that oath, he's not a judge. He's a lawyer acting like a judge because they're all a part of the same bar association. All right. Now, the federal government was created to keep all the biasness and all those things in check. That's where FOIA comes in, so you can get access to all of their information to make sure that they are acting in a legit capacity. So you don't need him to direct you to the state attorney general. That's his people's. You think him and the state attorney general don't go to cookouts and all that shit together? Conflict of interest. Okay? You go to the federal. The federal is to keep the state in check.
And give the people of the state confidence that it's a fair investigation. And a banning of false race-based 9/11 reports. We worked with the legislature over the weekend. I think we have an agreement on the bills that are going to be introduced. If they pass the bills that we've discussed, I will sign the bills, and I will sign them as soon as they're passed. I want to thank both of them for their leadership. This is a difficult time. People are angry. People are angry on multiple issues, and feelings are intense on multiple issues. So in the midst of it, you have to find out what's right rather than just what's politically expedient. And I want to praise the Senate leader and the Assembly leader, the Speaker, for their leadership. And I hope we have a good, productive week this week. But this is not about what an individual state can do. It's actually broader than that. New York State will take this legislative action, and I hope it then becomes a model for other states to follow. We've done that in New York a number of times. We did it with marijuana.
Now he's about to say we did it with marijuana, but anyway, they're talking about pulling away from the federal government. And the more power you give the state, you're giving the state this power. And the more you let them pass these legislatures, which are unlawful legislatures, by the way, right? Because they're trying to say that what they're passing overturns the Constitution, and it don't. All right, the Constitution is already there to protect you, and if you are the indigenous people of the land, they can't tell you can't smoke your weed, you can't turn your weed into a drink, you can't do nothing with that weed. They don't have the authority to. All right, because you've been here before them. You've been using it before they came here. So this old governmental construct, federal or state, is foreign to you, the indigenous person who they're wrongfully identifying as black and African American. And the reason why they identify you as black and African American, because now it puts you in their corporate construct where they can tell you what to do. God damn it. So this is why they lock you up for stupid shit. Oh, I was putting the handcuffs on you and then you shrugged your shoulders half an inch. Trust me, it has happened to me before. All right? Claim I shrugged my shoulders half an inch and they tell me that I was resisting arrest because of that. Okay? Because they didn't have no reason to why they were locking me up. This is when I was ignorant to this information. I didn't know this information. Okay? I didn't know how powerful me being an Arawak was, is. I didn't know that at that time in my younger days. So I too faced the abuse of these policy officers, them just making up stuff just to see you get locked up. And you be surprised how much it happens every day. So it's not, it doesn't, those policy officers didn't lock you up on a federal level. They locked you up on a city level and on a state level with your state troopers. Right? So how the hell would I go to the state attorney general when they all trust me when I say this? Trust me when I say this, because a brethren of mine who was in that craft was invited to the ball that they go to every year. Chief of police, the state attorney general, governors, mayors, councilmen, all of them, all of them. Okay, they're not supposed to be mingling with each other. Because at the end of the day, they're supposed to be investigating each other in case of anything. It's how you buddy with the person that you might end up investigating in the future.
Equality. We did it with free college
Now
tuition.
let's
We
let's
did it
let's
with
go back it up a
about what
little.
leader, the Speaker, for their leadership. And I hope we have a good, productive week this week. But this is not about what an individual state can do. It's actually broader than that. New York State will take this legislative action, and I hope it then becomes a model for other states to follow. We've done that in New York a number of times. We did it with marriage equality. We did it with free college tuition. We did it with raising the minimum wage, New York acts, and then it provides a spur for progressive action by the rest of the country. But this is also bigger than what states can do. What this protest really is about.
What do they do with marijuana? Because they're still locking folks up in Brooklyn right now for having weed on them. They didn't do anything. And anything that they claim that they did, they're not enforcing it. When it comes to something righteous and positive, they're not enforcing it. Okay? Because look, their system is a quota system. Means if the officers don't pull in this much arrest, even though they claim, well, we ain't doing that no more. And you can obviously see it's like a person slapping you in the face and telling you, oh, I'm not slapping you anymore. Oh, I didn't use the palm of the hand. This time I used the back of the hand. Does that count as a slap? Yes, you back slapped me. So it's still a slap. So if they talk about, oh, well, we make it so that, you can walk now with like half an ounce, they're not supposed to tell you how much ounce, how much pounds, how much nothing you of the chronic you could walk with. It came from the earth. They have no dominion over the earth. They only have dominion over their corporations. So if you wanted to go out into a field of chronic and bring back trees on top of trees on top of trees of that shit, you have all right to. So their legislation don't mean shit. That's just to keep you conformed. Okay? That's just to make you conform to their fake ass authority. All right? Because you don't understand how to separate public from private. You don't understand that a lot of these legislatures, when you think they did something, many Negroes say, Bloomberg made it so that we could walk with like an ounce of weed now on us. I'm like, yo, there was never a law against it. What are you talking about? There was never a law nowhere against it. Never a law. And you must read the Constitution. First of all, it marks you as the Indians and said that you ain't even supposed to be a part of this system. So that means any legislature that they write, any laws that they write, ain't even supposed to go for you. But because you call yourself black and African American, you're locked in underneath their corporate construct. So since you're in it, know how to use it. The federal government is there to keep the state in check because the state is corrupt as shit. And it's the state that's been abusing the shit out of you for years. Okay? Let's keep going.
Is systemic racism and systemic injustice and systemic inequality. Yes, when it comes to policing, but frankly, it's worse than just policing. It's the fundamental institutions in our society that systematize discrimination. It's the fact that we have two education systems, one for the rich and one for the poor. And poor children receive a different education than rich children because there's a gross funding disparity. It's the lack of an affordable housing agenda, where the federal government just doesn't provide affordable housing anymore. They used to provide Section 8 vouchers. They used to provide.
Because that's for the state to do. It's not for federal to do. It's for the state. So when the federal was overspending on the state with certain things that the state was supposed to be doing, the federal was losing out on certain things. So Trump's job is to rebuild back the federal to make sure that it gains back the power that it's supposed to gain back. They're trying to deplete the power that the federal government has. So they were trying to suck it dry. Okay? The state is supposed to be doing public housing and these things. The state. You live in New York City, that's the city's job. You live in New York State, that's the state. I don't see why they have a governor and a mayor. Because if the governor controls the city and what they call the overall state, then what the hell is a city? Then it's just the whole thing is just a state and everything is in controllership of the goddamn governor. But anyway, that's just a side thought. But anyway, it was the state's job to find affordable housing, to fund that stuff. It's the state. Okay? They have the money.
what's called project-based Section 8 vouchers, so you could build. They used to build public housing. That's all stopped. That's all stopped. It's the healthcare system. What we saw with COVID, that you have inequality in the healthcare system. And the neighborhoods where the COVID ravaged
Pay attention.
are
Watch
the
this.
neighborhoods that had less health care to begin with.
That's you Negroes. That's what he's talking about. I told y'all. Historically, they've always targeted you to run their experiments on. Oh, the American community is the highest hit. You see? But they can never say, well, the Indian community is the highest hit. Because they can't even mention your name if you were going by your rightful nationality. They can even bring you up in none of this bullshit that is going on. Because if they did, now it's genocide of indigenous people, meaning the original people of this land. But because you go by their corporate construct, they're cutting back on the corporate budget, meaning dead bodies is worth more money because they could take your organs, sell them individually. A kidney's like $50,000. Sometimes it's $250,000. Okay, like I said, all those bodies that he talked about of people that died, no one has seen them. So where did they go? Where did they go? China runs a similar thing in China, and they tell you that they harvest the organs. All right. When they shoot you in the back of the head in China, they have prisoners who were former medical doctors that they brought back at the re-education camps that they have locked up. And they have them come out, pick the body up, and take the organs out and put it in a cooler. Copper Hot Step did a video on it. Well, the Chinese, them telling you this themselves. This is what's going on here, but they can't be open with it like how they are over there. Okay? So when he's talking about, see, the less insurance, he's talking about the Negro communities because they set it, it's purposely set that way on the state level to sabotage you. So you can't have this and that. And now that he's shut down all these businesses and opening up Hudson Valley, which is predominantly Caucasian, right? Then he's going for Long Island. And which parts of Long Island, right? So he ignored certain parts of the hood. Certain areas in New York City where you have to go to work. This is why it's unconstitutional for him to shut down businesses and tell you when you can and cannot open and how much people you could have in your business. That's against the law. He has done broke how many human rights laws? International law, local law. How many? But you don't know this, so your own ignorance is letting this man literally get away with this dumb shit in front of your face. And then telling you the reason why you're the least insured. Businesses are insured. Companies are insured. So when you go get insurance, which you're already insured because that birth certificate is already your insurance. That's already your bond. That's already your indemnity bond. That's your security instrument that exchange back and forth on the stock market. You don't believe me? Go punch in that birth certificate number on fidelity.com and see how much that shit is worth. Okay? So you're already covered. When you're paying insurance, insurance is the biggest scam out there is. You're paying double. For what? Let's keep going.
That's not a coincidence. That's the fundamental cause of the injustice. And that's what we should be addressing along with policing issues. And there is a moment to do this. There's a global moment. There's certainly a national moment.
There's a global moment. Because they're trying to global world order.
Momentum. Seize the moment. There's a moment. Change comes in a moment. When did we pass gun safety? Right after Sandy Hook. Why? Because people said enough is enough.
And Sandy Hook was also a state government organized thing because they need to take the guns out of your hands so that when they're coming to shut you down, you gotta understand, man. They create chaos to pass what they need to get past because they're clearing your fear. They did Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook supposedly happened. I still think those were lifelike looking mannequins. I don't look. You call it conspiracy or not. I forgot what they call those dolls that they take pictures of that looks real as hell. Okay, but anyway, they needed to enforce these fake gun laws, right? None of these gun laws are gun laws; those are policies. Because again, the Constitution says you have the right to bear arms. So when they were doing these mass shootings, I'm not saying some of these shootings did not happen. Some of these, obviously, some of these happened because I know victims of some of these shootings. Now, when they do these mass shootings, what does that do? It makes you say, "Yes, take away these guns. Here's and to keep the safety of our children." So now you're dependent on the police department to keep you safe, but the police department is beating the shit out of you. They're abusing you every single day, every single day, every single day. They're extorting you every single day, every single day. Okay, now they took away all these guns from you. You want the state government to keep you safe, but the state government is taking advantage of you every single day. Then you find out, oh shit, these state government mayors and governors and council members were all in a big colluded plan to have pushed through the new world order, world domination type of thing. That's why he mentioned on the world level. That's why he was talking about the world, because this is what they're trying to do. This man is talking double speech.
People are saying enough is enough again. Seize the moment and end the systemic injustice, inequality. Education, health care, housing, policing, criminal justice. Reopening of New York City, we did it all based on data and facts. There was no political ideology at work here. We're talking about a virus. The virus doesn't do Democrat, Republican, doesn't do liberal, conservative. It's based on facts, and we have followed the facts. You look at where we are now with our testing results. On Sunday, we did 58,000 tests across the state. We're at 1.2% positive, the lowest level in the state since March 16th.
Sunday he said that they did 60,000. No, it's 58,000. Now he said they were 1%. Now they 1.2%. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Now, how did you test 58,000 people when majority of the folks was out marching? When did you test 58,000 people? When? Now, I do know that with their their drone system, their droning program, the droning program finds uh its targets by heat signatures. Okay? Which is why he was telling you that when you're going into these stores now, that he's going to have the stores scan your temperature to see if you have COVID or not. Okay? The droning programs, they find their enemies, their victims by heat signatures. All right? So if they were able to scan 58,000 people, that sounds just about right for the protesters, ain't it? They were scanning y'all then. Y'all better understand what's happening here, man.
That's a fact. Over the past few days, 58,000 tests we did on Sunday, 1.2% statewide. Saturday, 60,000 tests, 1.3. Friday, 77,000 tests, 1.4. Thursday, 66,000 tests. Why are we reopening? Because these numbers say we can. There's no guess. There's no ideology. Based on the numbers, we can reopen. We are doing more tests than any state in the United States. We're doing more tests than any country on the globe per capita. That's why I have confidence saying to 19 million people, we can do this. based on
Mind you, he said we're reopening because the numbers say we can. But then the other day he said, "Yo, the virus is being spread because of the protests." So why then now would you reopen if you claiming that the virus is being respread because of the protests? Why would you reopen? Why? No one is asking this man these questions.
yesterday 58,000 tests. That is a lot of tests. That is a large sample. And I feel confident making a decision on these numbers. Now, we can change the numbers just like we changed the numbers the first time and reduce them. New Yorkers get sloppy, you can see those numbers go back up because they're purely a function of behavior. You tell me what New Yorkers do today, I'll tell you that number tomorrow.
He says clearly a function of behavior if New Yorkers get sloppy. That means if you don't behave how he wants you to behave, we're going to fabricate back these numbers, skyrocket it back up again, and clamp back down on your asses. That's what it is. But if you behave how we want you to behave, we're going to continue having you wear this mask, start getting your temperature scanned, start getting you chipped, start coming and knocking on your door to try to test your little young ones, your sons, your daughters, your babies. We're going to tell you that your baby have to get the coronavirus vaccination and these things, and just fucking behave yourself. But if you ain't going to do that, we're going to go ahead and publicize the killing of another Negro so you can continue marching. Then we're really going to call in the National Guards on your asses. And then it's going to be one big bloodbath because we're going to implant protesters to throw shit at the National Guards. Like they said when they killed the brother out there, I think, was it, I don't want to get it wrong. It was in Chicago or back again in St. Louis, where his dream was to buy the whole block, but he opened up a restaurant. His restaurant was opened up in one of the busiest spots, and then he was a year away from buying the entire block. And all of a sudden, supposedly, someone went and shot at the police and the National Guards, but he was the only one that was shot back by either police or National Guard. They didn't get the gunman, right? Who would be stupid enough to shoot at the police and the National Guard? Huh? This is the dumb shit that they're telling you guys out there, right? So pretty much he's threatening you. If you don't act how I want you to act, man, I'm going to F you up. He's acting outside of, that's a dictator. Okay? He's acting outside of his authority. But again, because you don't understand nationality, you know,
And we literally study it on a day to day basis. If you look uh, at yesterday's numbers, just yesterday, across the state, New York City, 9 weeks ago, 59% were testing positive.
he's lying.
4 weeks ago, 10% were testing positive. 2 weeks ago, 4% were testing positive. Yesterday, 2%. Just
That's because it's getting hot. It's summertime. Heat kills viruses, and he knows that. So because he knows that, and that's already being drilled in your heads, he's gonna make they're gonna make the numbers lower. So numbers do can lie. All his numbers is lying. Okay? And then now when it's getting colder back, he's gonna say, well, because of the protests, look, there's a major outbreak back again. Watch. Mark my
yesterday.
words.
And you see the other numbers for the other regions. Mid Hudson, 1%, Long Island, 1%, Western New York, 2%, Capital Region, 1%. That's how we're making decisions. Westchester, Rockland, Hudson Valley will enter phase two tomorrow. Long Island is on track to enter phase two on Wednesday. What does phase one reopening mean? It means companies, businesses can reopen pursuant to specific guidelines. This is not right.
Now let me just make this clear. There were folks that was already taking their mayors and governors to the Supreme Court for the same thing. And the courts ruled in the favor of the people. Okay? Not the governors and the mayors. The courts ruled in the favor of the people. So he don't have the power, the authority to tell you when to open and when not to open. First of all, you should have never closed your business. When you closed your business, that means you agreed to contracting with him that you were going to shut down your business. Now you're supposed to put it out there that you rescind that contract. All right, because that's what it is. He put out a verbal contract. You agreed to the verbal contract by shutting down your business. You're supposed to put out back a public declaration, let them know that you rescind all contracts with the state as far as to shutting down your business and open back your business. Not only do you put it out there in the public, you write that notice and you send it to all heads of state, all governmental office, and let them know you're opening back your shit. Because what he's saying is against the Constitution, right? The Constitution protects you to secure your persons and papers. Okay, your business is your persons. Persons, where if it's not saying natural persons, then it's talking about a business. All right, so you can open up because the law protects you to do that. He has no authority, none, to tell you that you can't. None of them do. The law protects you from doing that, for doing what you need to do with your business. How are you going to let another man tell you if your business is essential or not? Hmm? I don't care if you run a nail salon. That's the business you use to feed your family. That's the business you use to pay your employees. Okay? Now, when you pay your employees, huh? Your employees can then go to that corner store, that supermarket across the street from your business and buy from there. Hence, bringing business to that supermarket. But if he shuts it down and pick and choose what he wants to open up, when he wanted to open up, how many people can go in there, then the economy is still stifling. And the whole goal of India and China and these other places that really want to take over the Americas is to stifle your economy so that they can take over on the private side through paperwork, through buying up these bonds. All right? This is what this guy is doing.
Reckless reopening. We know what happens when that's done. This is by the guidelines. Construction and manufacturing, wear masks, no congregate meetings. In terms of businesses, curbside pickup, how curbside pickups happen. In-store pickup only if curbside is not practiced.
Now, someone should have been there to say, well, we don't want to wear the mask. If we don't wear the mask, what are you going to do to us? Because he's threatening you to wear a mask. I told you when he said behave on the behavior, that means he wants you to do exactly what he says when he say how to do it. That mask is killing you. That mask is compromising your immune system. So by the time fall comes around and the sick season come back again, you're going to be sick. Chances are you might die because you've been breathing in all that polluted air back from your mask. Okay? He knows this. All you have to do is read the goddamn box of the mask that you're buying. It does not protect you against viruses. And if you call the companies, all right, you buy a box of masks. This is what I'm telling y'all to do. Call the companies that made the mask. Record them. Put it on speaker. As a matter of fact, write them and tell them that you want it in writing of them saying that the mask stops viruses. It stops the coronavirus, that you can't get infected as long as you're wearing that mask. Write them and tell them to write you back in a letter. They will never do it. This is why you don't see him wearing a mask. You never see Fauci wearing a mask, right? The only time you see them wearing a mask, is during a photo op. Okay? And the video I did showing y'all when he did have a mask, it wasn't even bent or folded. That means he never even put it on. It was still crisp. Okay? Let's keep going.
practical, and that has to be with prearranged orders. You're just going into the store to pick up an order. That's because you can't do curbside. That's all that is. Curbside, obviously, in New York City is a different phenomenon than curb.
Now, let him tell you that that is the law, that you can't do these things. He's not saying that that's law. That's just him telling you, yo. And let me tell you something, the governor word is not law. Okay? Now the police officers will be like, well, oh, are you disobeying the governor? Because they're put there as the intimidators. They're put there as the bullies to make you submit to his unlawful demands. Okay? This is why they want to pass their legislature to further protect the policy officers, because they're not peace officers anymore. They're policy officers. Their job is to protect the corporations and the corporate constructs of the corporations, the businesses. Their job is to make sure that the corporation is still pulling in money. Hence, ticket, 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 arrest, 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 ticket, 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 ticket. Jaywalking, jaywalking, ticket. Arrest, 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 arrest. Pulls in money for the corporation. So they're the bookies, they're the extorters, right? The extortionists, the muscle.
Curbside in other markets with less traffic. But that's what store shopping is. These guidelines work. They have been enacted in every other region in the state. Those other regions have entered phase one, followed these guidelines, and there has been no spike. We know that it works if it's followed. So the same guidelines apply to New York City. And if we follow those guidelines in New York City, there should not be a spike, just like there hasn't been a spike across the rest of the state. We're also going to keep a special eye on New York City to see what happens. We'll do 35,000 tests per day in New York City. Take a snapshot every day. If you see any increase in the infection rate, then
Snapshot is talking about taking snapshots of you when you go get tested. Okay? And when you saw out the numbers, if you see any increase in it, first of all, I want y'all to be honest with yourselves. Because you guys are out there in the streets, right? Now that you know that he's said to make up if you're infected, to act like you're infected, so that your friends them could go get tested, to act like you're infected, even though you're not. Act like you are, so that your friends and your family members can go get tested, right? Then he confessed and said that the hospitals were diagnosing people with COVID, even when it wasn't COVID. Okay? Now that you know all of this, flashback to that one friend that talk about, yeah, they told me I had COVID, bro. That one friend was like, it's real because I got it. I got COVID. Show you how he got duped or she got duped. Got played. Played. So they talk about the spike in the numbers in this. Now, you're in your neighborhoods every day. You're in your neighborhoods every day. Could you name 20 to 30 people that claim that they lost someone in your neighborhood from COVID 19? Be real. Let's be real. Because if the deaths were piling up like how he's saying that the deaths are piling up, then one person should be able to name at least 20 people that they know that lost or died of COVID 19. But you can't. None of us can. None of us. Because he's lying. You got to understand, man. This is one big psychological game on you. And this is the and while you're over here distracted with all of this, the simulation, the system that they're using for this simulation is that supposed Dragon space station. Huh? Okay. But anyway, let's continue to play some more of what he's talking about. I told you it's bully tactics he's using. None of he has not mentioned not one law that backs up him from doing anything that he's doing. He has to name something out the Constitution that says that he could do what he's doing. All right. Now I know there's a clause in one of these documents that says if there's a pandemic or some form of viral outbreak, then they can use something about some clause. But he came out already admitted that they fabricated the numbers, that they were saying people had COVID when they never had COVID. So obviously he came out and let you be known that they've been faking this whole thing. So that clause is no is void and invalid. It was never even valid anyway because the Constitution still protected you from those things. Okay, let's go.
Then act immediately. And 35,000 tests per day is
On the
a
8-point eagle.
healthy snapshot, a healthy sample. And then watch it literally every day and calibrate what you're doing. Again, I'm asking all the protesters to please get tests. That is a new question that has been dropped into the mix. We had all these at-home measures, and then we had thousands of people show up for protests.
Here's why. More people was dying in the hospitals than they were at home. So they had to get your asses out there in the streets in mass numbers to go protest and say, oh shit, look at this shit now, oh shit, all these folks out here, oh shit. Now we're just going to say in the fall, all you protesters, you contracted COVID-19 when you went out to protest. Oh shit. Now, oh god damn it, you can't go back home, you can't go back in your house, you got to come to our internment camps. You got to go in our hospitals where they're gonna false diagnose you, wrongfully treat you, and kill your ass. So a lot of you feeling to die. That's a fact. The folks are still sitting around. Well, what can I do? Well, what can I? Well, sit there and wait for them to kill you then. That's your mindset. If you had the strength and the energy to organize a protest, to go out there in the hundreds of thousands, you could have did that and bombarded the governor's mansion and city hall. That's what you could have done. And that would have been your public declaration right there. And you stand on the steps. Once you stand on the steps of city hall or the governor mansion and make it your public declaration that you do not comply with any of his demands and that you rescind all contractual obligations that was out there that you have accepted unknowing, that ain't shit that they could do. He has to cease and desist right away. Okay? Everything happens because you've agreed by keeping your mouth shut. When he was doing all of this and you were screaming George Floyd, you kept your mouth shut with all the shit that he was doing. Okay? I was at the hospital and my empress was giving birth to my son. I told them I'm not getting tested unless they swear on their oath that every other coronavirus that wait, hold on, my phone displaying that swear that every other coronavirus won't give the test a positive. Uh, they couldn't. So the head doctor of the hospital was like, "Leave him alone." Plus, I had other things put in place. Shaking my head. These people are really wicked, man. I told you. Once you pull that oath on them, and they don't want to sign the documents that you bring with the oath, watch out for them doctors. You see how you came and said leave him alone? Because they know what that means if they answer the wrong answer. Okay? Told y'all. You have to know how to protect yourselves. Next time you put it in writing, have it on paper, and tell them to sign it. No, you don't want no signature. You want their full. You don't want no. You want their full autograph, their full name, where you can read it out. Tell them to sign that shit. It's called a disclaimer that they swear upon their oath, the Hippocratic oath, and upon the constitutional oath that this vaccine that they're trying to give you, that anything that they're trying to say will cause no harm to you. 100%. That is real. 100%. They will never do it. They will never do it. That's what you're supposed to do to the governor when he's talking all this shit. Tell him to swear upon his oath, right? with the results of perjury and damn it, I forgot how the saying goes, but it's about perjury, right? Swear upon your oath of your constitutional oath, the risk of perjury and so on and so. So if he says okay, he swears up on the oath, right? And then you make him sign that shit, and it turns out to be a lie, he goes to prison automatically, because he lied. It's a big deal when you lie on your oath. It's a big deal. Let's continue playing some more. The last of what he's saying, and then because I'm about to finish it up with the last of what he's saying, and then we're going to show you what they've been doing with
Did
the
that
platforms.
did that affect the spread of the virus? We don't know. We don't know.
Told you.
Question that has been dropped into the mix. We had all these.
Told you. I told you they're trolling me, man. He's changing his tune a little bit because before yesterday they was like, yeah, because of the protest, the virus is spreading. Now he's saying because of the protest did that affect the spread of the virus. Semantics. It's the same shit he's saying. He's still saying because you went out there and protest, you're spreading the virus, and comes fall, he's gonna come with the iron hand of Hitler and put the smack down on your ass. Pretty much that's what he's saying. Pay attention. This is not a game. Think this is a game? We're talking about your lives here. A lot of y'all feeling to die.
I'm asking all the protesters to please get tests. That is a new question that has been dropped into the mix. We had all these at-home measures, and then we had thousands of people show up for protests. Did that affect the spread of the virus?
Now, let me tell you something. His brother was at home, but his brother was infected. That means his brother infected his entire household. If he wants to play that game, flip it back on him. And if he try to say, well, no, my brother was isolated, but your brother was still boinking his wife before he even knew, because he said people can be infected and not know that they were infected. Your brother was still kissing his sons and daughters on the cheek. Like, oh, my little babies. Oh, look at them. Oh, daddy's coming. Daddy's going to play catch with you outside soon, real soon. And he was still boinking his wife. So they was definitely swapping saliva and other things. All right. So that entire household is infected. They don't give a shit if he quarantined himself away from his family. All right. It's infected. Let's keep going.
We don't know. Please get tests. That is a new question that has been dropped into the mix. We had all these at-home measures, and then we had thousands of people show up for protests. Did that affect the spread of the virus? We don't know. We don't know. So I'm asking the protesters, please go get a test. It's free, it's available, but there is a chance that you were in proximity to people. Again, we've gone through this, what they call a super spreader. One person in a crowd of 100 people can infect dozens. We've seen it. So please, we have 15 testing sites in the New York City area that are prioritized just for protesters. We're also focusing on the hotspot neighborhoods in New York. These are zip codes where we know there's a much higher infection rate than other parts of the city, and it's dramatically high. Overall, the infection rate in New York is 19%. Some of these communities are over 50%. So we're targeting these hotspots, more testing, more treatment in these hotspots.
The hotspots are what they call minority communities. I'm telling you, it's population control on Negroes. Wake up. And your own ignorance is what's doing you in. Oh, but Cuomo sounds sincere. He's for us. Shut up. No, he's not. He's for the corporation. He's for fattening his pockets. He's for how many bodies he could get racked up in that morgue so that they can harvest those organs. That's what he's for. Why they always target the Negro population more than anyone else? For years they've been polluting the earth with massive amount of radiation, especially in the Americas. Our genetics withstands radiation more than anybody else. Okay, so they need our genetics. All right. Not only that, you are the true heirs of the estate of the estate of the Americas. You are the true heirs. So they need to lower your numbers. This is why when they in the first wave, because he's this is stage two now. Stage one was to get rid of the elders, right? So even a lot of the Caucasian elders were killed off that had the knowledge of the past. This is just like when the colonizer first came here and they captured the parents and they raised the child. All right, they got rid of the elders. Okay, so this is all they're doing all over again via the way of the hospitals. They're killing off the elders. So if you're not going to these hospitals, to these testing sites with these disclaimers, okay, protect yourself. I didn't tell you go to the testing sites. That's on you if you want to do it or not. But if you're not going to these hospitals, this is why they took the responsibility of your personal doctor, your family doctor, from even having any form of inkling about what the coronavirus is, or even having them study it, because they know the family doctor, because they build some form of bond with you, the ones who are righteous, will call bullshit on what's going on. Okay? Why go to a testing site when you already have your family doctor? All they're doing is just a cheek swab, right? And a nose swab. Your family doctor couldn't do that. Your family doctor couldn't do that. Why do they need testing sites? Because it's pulling in money. They needed that money from the federal government, that stimulus package. So they didn't get it because Trump was like, take the asses to their own doctors. But they wanted you at their testing sites. It's all about the money. But they need to lower your numbers. They need to lower your numbers because they need to bring in more of their people from the Middle East, from these places, to take your place. You're being replaced.
And more awareness. We're also setting up additional testing. Thank you very much, Northwell Health and Somos Community Care. More testing sites in those zip code areas for people in those zip codes to get tested. So 240 testing sites alone in New York City. So you can get a test. It doesn't cost anything, and there are 240 sites available, so there's no reason not to do it. There's a website where you can go to the website, punch in your address, find the availability, call, and set it up. I'm asking the protest.
Now, when you go to the website, you punch in your address, there goes your digital tracing right there, because you done put up your information now that you're going to go get tested. Now they're like, oh shit, okay. Now we have your name, your address, your location. Oh, let's come knocking on their door. Now that we know that you went to the testing site, chances are maybe we're going to find you positive. So now we can now, at a later time and date of our choosing, come knock on your door and test the rest of your loved ones. Do via the way of the HR 6666 bill that they're trying to get passed. Right? Wake up. This is your digital tracing. Y'all think this was a game? Understand what this man is really saying. This whole thing was double speech.
Testers to get tested and take as a precaution, act as if you have been exposed. And you may want to tell people that who you're interacting with. Stay away from people who are in a vulnerable population until you take a test and you know that you're not infected. People in those zip codes where you have that high infection rate, get tested.
Now look at this. There's people in New York that went and got tested because these folks didn't take the flu, didn't get the flu shot. So they was tested and say that they didn't have corona, right? But yet still the cops are still making you wear a mask, even though you were tested and says you don't have it. So the hypocrisy of what he's saying, the shit don't make no sense.
Tested. And that's all on that website. Also, as we're working through this, we're going to extend the deadline for filing property taxes, tax abatements by 90 days.
All that is
Small
illegal.
business
Property
and some
taxes, all that
assistance.
shit.
We're going to restart elective surgery and ambulatory care in New York City. The MTA is reopening. Roma Torre asked me on an interview, how do you know the subway is going to be safe on reopening day? I said, because if it wasn't safe, I wouldn't ask anyone to go on the subway. I make these decisions, and for me, it's very simple. I just
It's simple for him to make these decisions. Well, if he deems it safe on the subway, well, I want to see him, his children, his grandchildren, his wife, his brother, and their children, and his grandmother, grandparents, his cousins, aunts, entire family, all that. Go back to 2 generations back. All of them take that subway. All of them. A random train. Go down into Flatbush Junction and jump on the train from there. Jump on the train from Flatbush Junction. Not just anywhere. Matter of fact, go out to White Plains in the Bronx and take the train from there. Go out to there. Not just anywhere. Not any station in New York. You're going to go into the hood, my man, and take these trains with your entire family. And let's see. And don't be sitting in one cart. I want to see them spread out in every cart. Every cart. Of course, he told them to sanitize the trains. The trains should have been sanitized. He told them to put up sanitization liquid in the train station. They were supposed to have been had those. That's not rocket science. So if the train station wasn't being cleaned from day one, what the hell were you paying those city workers for? The janitors, what were they for? The folks that cleaned the tunnels, what were they for? What is bridges and tunnels then? Huh?
assume I'm making the decision for myself and for my children. And I said to Roma, if the subway isn't safe for me, then I wouldn't ask anyone else to go on the subway.
So take it.
And today I took a ride on the 7 train. The MTA has done phenomenal work.
Did his family take a ride on the 7 train? Did his family? I don't care about him. His family, his nieces, his nephews, his grandchildren. I want to see all of them on that goddamn train. He knows this shit ain't real, so of course he's going to go on the train. I want to see all of them on the train. Every single one of them. That's that old political move. Look, I'm on the train with one of you guys. God damn it, Bloomberg used to do that shit. Remember Bloomberg used to ride the train? They said that Bloomberg took the train to work every morning. This billionaire is taking the train to work every morning. Bloomberg. Come on. Shit. Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves lives in New York and LA. And when Keanu's in New York, he takes the train. You know how many times I've seen him on the train? Like, come on. He's not saying nothing. Those are all political stunts, political moves. That's nothing. This man is so fake.
I'm old enough to remember the bad old days in New York City. Uh, and when we would talk about how dirty the cars were and the garbage that was in the subway cars and the stench, frankly, that was in the subway cars. The subway cars are cleaner than they have ever been in my lifetime. I mean, they had to disinfect the subway cars. Just think about it. I mean, it's almost a bizarre task, right? We're going to disinfect a subway car. So many years, they couldn't figure out how to get the newspapers and the coffee cups out of the subway car. Now they're disinfecting. And they...
See how stupid that sounds? For so many years, they couldn't figure out how to get the newspapers and the coffee cups out of the subway cars. Now they're disinfecting. Yo, when I'm riding that train late night, especially when I was coming home from work, when I used to work in Manhattan, those workers would come in, they'll half-ass clean that train. Do you hear me? They'll come, run a broom over it, run one mop on the floor, and they'll leave the shitty toilet paper in the seats of the train. They'll leave the garbage still in the seats of the train. The train will still be stinking and smelling like piss, right? They don't put no ammonia on it, no disinfectant, none of that stuff. So if you're telling me that now all the trains are disinfected because of the coronavirus, why the hell weren't y'all clamping down when the years on years that New York City residents, New York City folks from in New York City was complaining about how dirty the subway was. The big ass cat-sized rats that people were seeing in the subways. Why weren't you doing anything then? You want to say it's because of the coronavirus? So now you made sure that the trains are spotless, they're clean? Shut your ass up. Yo, he's talking politics to y'all. This is how these politicians smooth y'all over to get y'all votes. And I told y'all, some of y'all don't know shit about politics. Y'all only hear that fancy talk. Oh, let's go vote. Look, he cleaned up the subways. They should have been did that. Just like how in the 1980s you were supposed to be making $15 an hour for part-time for minimum wage, and it's supposed to be $30 now for minimum wage up to almost 35, and they just now giving you $15, and you thought you won something. You didn't win nothing. Nothing. Zip, zilch, nada. Because you waited for someone else to try to dictate terms for you, then you yourself going out to go learn the numbers that this is what you were supposed to really have been making from the 80s, to see that these folks literally ripped you off. And then when they gave you minimum wage, show you how dirty they are. They raised the price of food on you. So your minimum wage don't mean shit because the price of food got raised on you. They raised transportation on you when public transportation is supposed to be for free. Yo. Like I said, man, I have family in politics. I'm already hip to the tricks. Why isn't it playing? I hope you don't want to play. Okay.
Disinfecting the cars and the stations. They've done 30,000 station cleaning, disinfection, 500,000 subway car cleaning, disinfections. They've applied antimicrobial treatment to the surfaces in the subway cars and the stations. They're using UV light technology to clean facilities. So they are doing everything they can. We're giving them an additional 1,000,000 masks and 25,000 gallons of the.
He said they're using UV light technology. Yo, some of us, when we go to go stay in a hotel, we take that black light with us, that UV light with us, so that we can shine to see if there's any stains on them sheets in the hotel, right? So that's why we got hip to bringing our own sheets when we go to those hotels or a motel. We bring our own sheets so that we don't use their sheets because that UV light shows the stains. Now, F all what he's saying. When you was doing the UV light testing, why didn't you make it public so we all could see the results of the UV light testing? I guarantee they saw everything, everything in those trade cards if they did do that. And then that would show you that why did he wait till this supposed outbreak to want to clean the subway up? Huh? This is his third term. This is his third term. Why? Why didn't the mayor before him do the same thing? And the mayor before him, and the mayor before him, and the mayor before him. What was so special about him now that, oh, look, we got everything cleaned out. You could go back and drive the trains now. Huh? Full of shit like crab. For real. For real. Mm-hmm. Let's keep going. Oh, I think they're trying to block me from the video. Yeah. Hold on, boy. What's going on here? Oh yeah, they trying to. You hear it? It's clicking. Hold on. Yeah, they're messing with it. Yeah, they're messing with the video. Stop playing. Stop playing around. Let's go. Come on, stop it. Stop it, y'all. Stop it.
That we make in the state 500,000.
Yep, they make. Look, they're chopping up the sounding now. See that? Listen. See that? That's like when I go live and I'm trying to screen share how it plays. That's what they're doing. See that? Cause they know. They know.
I think you have to the right.
See that? Thank you, troll, for confirming that you've been trolling me. Thank you. Listen. See?
to
Let me try something.
one's bottle.
Yep. I can't even
It's
come
not
out of it.
reflecting.
All right, let me go back into it now. Oh, still won't. Hold on, y'all. I feel like they're trying to take down. They're going to take it down. They're probably trying to take down that his live stream to edit that shit. Wow, wow. The whole thing froze. Wow. Anyway, we made our point. We made our point. We made our point. We made our point. Now let me share something now with you guys. Get down, down. Now they claim that the app is acting up. Whatever. Wasn't on the thing. Links to click on so that they can hack your stuff and tamper with your platforms. Then these are the same trolls that flag your platform. This is why I saw at one point, I had suspected this with a YouTuber that kept making videos on top of videos on top of videos on top. Let's go. I'm gonna let y'all hear it. Come on. Oh, get out of here. They're trying to hack my Brave browser. 48 people. All right, so they're trying to hack my stuff. They kicked out over 40 plus people out of the chat already. All right, so they're trying to shut me down. They're trying to shut down my Brave browser. Okay. So matter of fact, here I'm just gonna put the link in because they can't stop the link. It's called a search engine evaluator. All right, when you Google that and you YouTube it, all the troll platforms is going to come up, and you see all the faces of the trolls. So when you Google that or you click on that videos, those are all trolls that are hired by YouTube and Google and other platforms to troll you and shut you down. Okay, so you're seeing their faces out there. Then one of the videos tell you exactly how to see the people behind the computer board, the keyboard, because the company that they work for puts their pictures out there publicly on the internet. Ha ha! I'm gonna put all your shit out there. You want to hear? You want to hack my stuff? Let's go. Mess with the wrong person. Should just left me alone, boy. All right, so that right there, search engine evaluator is what it's called, but that's not the name of the video. Uh, Let me get the name of the video right now. Okay. So too many people is coming in the chat. So they hacked it. They cut me for a few seconds while they deleted all the people from out the chat. All right. So the name of the video is called Online Jobs for Internet Trolls and Stalkers. I kid you not, that's the name of it. I'm going to turn up the volume so y'all can hear it. And it's a sister. That it's a sister. So this is what I'm telling y'all. It's not a race thing. Coons will be coons. Listen. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Don't want to hear the music. Fair use.
Individuals who what is troll? Internet troll. So it's a slang term used to describe individuals who go around the internet. They can subscribe to different channels on YouTube. They would watch videos and they'll post not so nice comments sometimes. It may be harsh, but it's just their way of expressing. That's, it's their the best way they know how to express their opinions or give their input. It's just that they just want to express something in their feelings about the content that they're reading or a video that they're watching, and they may not agree with certain things. So, there's a difference between trolling and giving, respectful criticism and so forth. With internet trolls, they have a difficult time expressing certain things. I do recognize some gifts and talents that internet trolls have. They have the ability to, search the internet, browse the web, and watch videos after videos, and they love to express themselves and give their opinions on certain things. Internet stalker basically just stalks the internet by visiting various websites, visiting companies, and so forth. So these opportunities can bring your trolling personality and your internet stalking personality. Now, it's okay to stalk websites and companies if you're looking for jobs. It's not okay to stalk individuals per se for harassment. That's a no-no. That's illegal, and someone can definitely file suit against you, and you don't want to get into trouble with that. If you fall into that category of a troll or stalker, you may want to get some help. But there's certain degrees of internet stalking and trolling. Okay, so if you are someone who loves to browse the internet and love to post on forums and chat rooms and under videos and so forth, there's plenty of opportunities out there where you can, apply the.
Show you how stupid she sounds. If someone is hiring you to leave negative comments on my videos, someone is hiring you. If YouTube guidelines is, well, if we see certain type of speech pattern on your video, we're going to have to delete your comments out of your comment section. And then if we delete those comments out of the comment section, then we're going to have to red flag your channel and put you on a list to where we censor everything now that you do. Why? Because of the trolls. The trolls went and did certain things. Then that troll is going to hit the flag button because their job is to also flag you. She's so naive. Either she's naive or she's dumb as hell, or she's just a little agent, right? Their thing is to flag you, flag your video. Doesn't matter what it is. Flag it, flag it, flag it all day. Don't matter who you are, all day. Okay? So the first link was the video of the sister talking. The second link was that when you Google this shit, it comes up all over Google. You see all the companies. They put the employees' faces out there because it's supposed to be public information. If they don't, you can put them for a FOIA and get all the names and faces of all them trolls. And I'm going to do that, and I'm going to blast it on a website that I'm making. All this shit. Let's go.
Those abilities and skills and earn extra income, earn some money while you're doing it. And, put all of that energy and all of that exertions into companies that will pay you to do what you are naturally endowed to do. Okay, so you may want to look into search engine evaluation. Search engine evaluation is a type of job that allows you to browse through the internet. You can go on Google search and you basically give your feedback and rate, certain websites and what comes up in searches and so forth. A great company you want to check out for that is Appen, and I'll post a link to the different opportunities where you can post on social sites and as well as search engine evaluation. And it's a pretty simple, easy job. And you can spend hours and hours online doing what you love and getting paid for it. Stalking the internet, stalking the websites, and getting paid for your input and your opinion. So doesn't that sound great? Now,
so if they're stalking the internet, right? Or they're not stalking you, your platform, huh? That's what they're doing. And if this is another quota thing. Also, and some of them get paid $15 to $40 an hour to do this. Okay, they get paid, but they're stalking you. They're gonna be, especially if it's a racist troll, negative comments on your stuff all the time. And some of these trolls know how to hack. They're gonna hit you with spam, 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 spam. You click on that spam, they get access to all your stuff. You see, I started dropping the info and they deleting all of y'all out the live now. It's going. It's going. They're deleting it. Yeah. Yeah, boy.
Another opportunity that you may want to consider, since you have so much time and you love being on the internet and you love watching people's videos and so forth, is sites that I will list below this video. Sites like Inbox Dollars, Swagbucks. Those are great sites that allows you to watch, commercials or videos. And after you watch those videos, you get a certain amount deposited into your account. Okay, so you can actually make money watching videos. You can make money, giving your input on different things. So let's say if you like music, you like listening to music. I had one of my subscribers commented that they joined a site called Slice the Pie that I recommended on one of my videos, and they were having a blast on that site. They love music and they love to post their opinions and their thoughts about music. So it was just like a dream come true for them. And even though they're not making tons of money with it, they have all the time in the world to build up, to whatever amount and whatever goal they want to reach with that site. And they're rocking it out, listening to music and writing, and giving their input and rating the music. And you can rate it and give your input no matter if it's bad music. You can say this is terrible music. I dislike the music. You can express yourself.
Y'all get the gist of what she's saying, right? Now, I think I should put the links to the companies also. So one company is called APPEN, APPEN. The other one is called what is that? Inbox? No, that's Swagbox. Slice the Pie. The other one is called US Toluna. All right, I'm gonna get these links. Matter of fact, no, you already got the link to the video. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post the link to the video and the other links that I posted in the comment section and in the description box. I'm gonna pin it on the top of the comment section, put it in the description box. So if you go back to the playback of the video, you just go into the comment section or the description box of the video, and when you do that, you click on her video, and then under her video, you see all those links, all the links to what she's talking about. Okay, all the links is there. They'll all be there. Or I'm going to copy some of them right now. So when I even do post up the links, I have some of her links. So yeah, you guys will get it. You guys will get the links. All right, you guys will get the links. Otherwise, from that told you, they pay folks to troll you and flag you down. They pay folks to sabotage your platforms, your channels. And that's when YouTube came up with their supposed guidelines, because it's going off of the trolling community that they are also invested in. Okay? There you go. And that's how you censor information and sabotage platforms. And that's how you take down platforms and say, well, I didn't have nothing to do with it. That's that troll from that company over there, that company over there. But why would that company hire people to troll people? How does that company then get paid? Who's paying that company? It's not the ones who are trolling their employees. So you're not paying your employer to fucking pay you to pay you back, right? I'm telling y'all, man, it's a dirty world. It's a dirty world. Okay. Hmm. I think they cut the connection. Yeah, they just cut the connection. They try to cut it, but anyway, I'm finished with my live anyway. So I say to you guys, peace, love, light, stay safe. Again, just just do your due diligence, man, just to start learning some of this information. Just knowing the system that you are participating in. All right. Know how to read people body languages and know how to know what's going on so you can call bullshit when you see it. Educate yourself on history. You're participating in this political thing. Educate yourself on political history. That's politician talk that Cuomo is giving you, Bellagio is giving you, fluff talk while they're really chopping away at you, cutting you down. Right when it comes to drafting up these bills and stuff. Okay, the federal government is there for you to use to keep the state in check. That's it. That's it. There's nothing more to it than that. All right. Again, I say to you guys, man, just enjoy the rest of your day. It's a beautiful day. The sun is out shining beautiful. If it's evening where you at, enjoy your evening. If it's night, enjoy your night. And just stay safe, travel safe, and best wishes to you all. Okay.